Welcome to the Two Tone Podcast, episode number 32. If y'all still here with us, we appreciate you so much. If you're not subscribed already, hit that subscribe button. It's a free way to show us you appreciate what we got going on. My name is Jaylen Gill. Alongside me, as always,
Theo.
How you been doing this week, kid? What you been up to?
I've been living life, working, doing adult shit.
It's fun time, ain't it?
Yep.
So I've heard there's a new new actor, potential actor for Spiff, Diff, and Kush. How's that going?
Yeah, it's going good. I think we got the main cast already done, other than the killer.
Oh, you found somebody for Spiff?
Yeah. Well, looking into it, but I haven't asked them yet.
Right. So we got I'm playing Kush, obviously, and then one of our friends from a group of our D&D group, newly added member of the D&D group, said that he'd be interested in being Diff. So, who you got in mind for Kush, or you want to keep it a little secret? You
mean Spiff?
Or yeah, Spiff. Sorry, my dumbass. Yeah.
Let's keep it a secret for now.
Oh, shit. A man of mystery. All right. Okay, so if you are new to the Two Tone Podcast, I make music, and TT over there is in the process of starting to make short movies and eventually, hopefully, a feature length. We'll see where it goes. But if you want to check out my music or any of my creative aspects, go to linktree.com/JAK Productions. It'll take you to my music on Spotify and Apple Music and YouTube as well. And then my socials are on there. And the Feeling Generous tab goes to the production value of the podcast, like us getting new mics and cameras and, just making it look a little nicer for y'all. Hit him with your little spiel before we hop into the pod, T.
My name's Theo. As Janelle said, I am trying to become a director and make films and shit. You can check out my films at Glasshouse Films 8 on YouTube. And if you would like to, in any way, help with my filmmaking journey, as in being an actor for film or being a helping hand in any way, you can contact me at Glasshouse Films 8 on Instagram. I forgot to say this last podcast, but if you want to check out any gaming, you can look up Glasshouse Plays on Twitch, and you can see me suck at games for a good hour or so.
Hell yeah. We'll have to set up an hour or so where we go back and play Apex or something, or I try to play Rainbow Six. Because I'm going to say Arthur commented on the last podcast. He was like, it'd be fucking hilarious if you and TT was playing some, online shooter together or some shit. I'm sure it would. We played one time and, we was playing Apex. I came in, almost killed this whole squad, and then TT comes in out of nowhere, just literally jumps into my view out of nowhere and just kills all these people. I'm like, what the? Bro, I was working on it. Calm down. Give me a second. Let him cook. But anyways, onward and upward. Let's get on into it. Hey, if you're one of the loyal 8 people that listen to this podcast, share it with a friend. Tell somebody you love. Tell somebody you hate. I mean, it depends on how you feel about the podcast, but anyways. They get shorter and shorter every time. All right. Welcome back to the Two Tone Podcast. All right. So we're talking about Spiff, Diff, and Kush. So you said you just need the killer pretty much, huh?
Yeah, killer and then a couple extras, but other than that.
I feel like extras wouldn't be too hard to find, honestly.
Yeah.
Just a couple people willing to stand in the corner for a couple minutes.
Yeah.
You fucking yawning, making me start to yawn. Goddamn. So, with Spiff Diff and Kush, I'd assume you're pretty much done with the script, or like in the final 1% of editing.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. So, have you noticed any tips that you seem to get a lot when you're writing scripts? Like, do people like? I'm not trying to say this in like a dickhead kind of way, but like, has there been any like advice that people have given you that you're like, oh, I never even thought about it like that? That's kind of like helped your writing process along. You get what I'm saying?
I mean, just to I haven't really gotten any like big advice, but like people have told me to just write what I want and don't try to think about it too much as what does the audience want, what more of what you want, because the audience doesn't know what they want until they see it. So
That's very true in a lot of senses. I feel like many directors nowadays, excuse me, especially in like the more Hollywood kind of aspect of it, a lot of people nowadays, I feel like they just take jobs that they know are going to make money. At the end of it, it all comes down to if you're willing to risk spending all this money to potentially either gain it all back or lose millions and millions of dollars.
yeah.
It's one of those things. It's like, on the one hand you got a guaranteed paycheck, on the other hand you can make something that you truly love, but you might come out on the negative end of it.
I mean, that's life. It's just gambling.
You're not wrong at all. You're not wrong at all.
But yeah, I mean, that's kind of what's taking Hollywood. That's kind of why people are stop going to see movies, is because you're tired of seeing the same 5 things.
Yeah, it's very true. I feel like we've kind of beaten this fucking horse to death. Like, a lot of fucking movies nowadays are either remakes or they're some cookie cutter kids movie that's animated, or a sequel that nobody asked for.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to have a guaranteed paycheck, but at the same time, I want to make what I want and not what other people want me to make.
That's totally understandable. I could definitely never have somebody be like, all right, I need a song that sounds like da 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 da, and then they just want me to make a song that actually sounds like da 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 da, because I probably put some beat in there, or spice it up to make it mine. But
I think that a lot of directors only or a lot of production companies only ask directors to do those types of films because they just know that it's going to make money just having their name on the credits.
right, it's almost like a what's the word for that? Like damn, that should be the name of this fucking podcast, called What's the Word for That? I always be saying that shit. Damn, I have no idea. But anyway, I know what you're talking about. Like, the draw of somebody's name can almost recoup the money, even if the movie's not necessarily good.
Yeah.
Like, you go to a Steven Spielberg movie and it's mid as shit. A lot of people are gonna go see a movie by Steven Spielberg because it's a Spielberg movie. It is kind of wild. It's like when you once you reach a certain level of success, people automatically expect that whatever you're gonna make is worthwhile. Especially in the movie industry, I feel like that's one of the industries where that's kind of the most common progression. make a name for yourself, and then you become so successful that
You know what's
everybody
fucking
wants to work
crazy,
for
though?
you. What's crazy?
Literally, if all of the like famous directors got together, they could literally make their own production companies, or
I'm
make
sure they
like
could.
one big production company. If they all
I'm sure
got
they
together.
could. And then they'd figure out some fucking like Hollywood backdoor shit to where they'd cut everybody out, and then all the big production companies are just making millions and millions of dollars while everybody else is, sitting there on the sideline. It'd be some fucking dumb shit. I feel like Hollywood to me is like too much of an institute for it to change at its core.
I need okay.
Like,
For any big name director watching this right now,
tell them. You tell them.
fucking get together with Steven Spielberg and all these other famous directors. Move to fucking Texas. Make a goddamn production company in Texas, and then just help indie filmmakers get a foothold in the movie industry, because this shit is terrible.
I'm about to say Hollywood is pretty much a mindset. Like the reason that Hollywood is in California is because the weather is so nice all the time. Like there's not many days a year where you can't shoot, where you can't get a certain aesthetic. Like they got mountains, they got beach, they got deserty kind of vibes out there too. Like they pretty much the only thing they ain't got out there is rain or snow. So like there's so many days a year where it's just possible. But it definitely is a mindset, in my opinion. Like it could, as you said, it could up and move to like Austin. Austin's a really poppin' city right now. Like it could, there's especially a lot of comedians and musicians that are moving out to Austin. Like it's just a matter of time before somebody plants a production company out there somewhere.
That's what they need to do, so we can get out of fucking California.
I'm about to say that's one of the things about Hollywood that like kind of never made sense to me. Like you're gonna exclude an entire half of the country that you know doesn't have the opportunity to fly to California and live out there for months and months. Like you're cutting the pool of talent that you could potentially have in half just for you know 360 nice days a year.
Yeah,
But
which is kind of dumb, because I feel like I've always said to, okay, this is gonna hurt some people's feelings, but I'm gonna say it anyways.
say
Just like I say with like abortion, you never know what your child is gonna be when they grow up. Your child could literally be the next president, and you decide to take that away from them because you decided to not want to be a parent.
I missed the first part. I'm sorry. Say it again.
I said that as I say with like abortion, you never know what your child is going to be when they grow up. Your child could be the next president of the United States, and you take that away from them because you don't want to be a parent.
Are you comparing that to what I said?
Yeah, as in like you're taking away
Right.
multiple ideas from people that literally could have like be the next Spielberg, and throwing it out the window because you want to have nice weather.
Right, like some kid in fucking the middle of Pennsylvania. Like, what opportunity is he gonna have to move out to L.A. and live out there for a few months or years potentially trying to make it into the industry? Like,
and it's like not even easy to get into the industry when you move out to California.
Right, you gotta
like. Kyle has told me that it's like almost impossible to get a job out there.
I mean, especially with all the writer strikes and shit, I feel like there's not much not much room for progression at the moment. But it's one of those things you got to kind of take a risk, gamble, as you were saying. Like life is a gamble. Essentially, you got to take your risks and value the worth of the experience. Like what are you gonna say? Continue.
But then you have people like Martin Scorsese, who go on the internet and say that Hollywood is turning to shit because they're not giving indie filmmakers any opportunities. They're only taking projects that they know they can make money off of.
I mean, I understand. Like, at the end of the day, you got to make a paycheck. But like all of these directors that are taking these cookie cutter movies that are just guaranteed paychecks, they have money that they could put into a movie that they really really care about and they really feel like is authentic to them and stuff. I mean, there's obviously directors that do that kind of stuff. Like I feel like Wes Anderson is one of those directors that makes movies that he wants to make.
But I feel like it's not even the director's fault. It's more of the production company because they want to make as much money as possible, even though they already have billions and trillions of dollars in the business that they could put towards the idea of one director.
Right. Like the
and then,
whole
like, even if they do lose money, they're still gonna have money coming in from other movies,
I
like
get
the
that.
Star Wars franchise and the Avengers and any like Marvel or DC film. They're still gonna have money coming in off of those until like they just remove all of them from streaming services.
That'll probably never happen. I mean, that's
Exactly.
I feel like that's half of the reason why people like buy streaming services is because they have all the older like nostalgic kind of TV shows.
You know what I would always love to fucking have?
Hmm.
I talked about this with Kyle, but like the fucking giant ass libraries that like states have, or that like the there's like the big ass libraries where it's literally just like all books, all bookshelves, and
That's
like
usually how libraries work.
there's like no space for like anything else other than books,
Right.
basically. But I want a place like that with every single movie ever made.
That would be fucking ridiculous. Could you imagine having a DVD of every fucking movie made?
But imagine like you could literally go into there and be like, all right, I want to rent this movie, and this movie. And they could be from 3 different fucking eras. From the golden era of film, from today, from the beginning of filmmaking. Like,
You just have like the ultimate fucking blockbuster.
yeah.
That'd be wild as fuck. I've seen some people's collections of DVDs and Blu-rays and shit. Like Kyle, bro, that shit's fucking crazy, dog. He got like boxes on boxes of Blu-rays, and I'm like, and you've seen all of these, bro? That's fucking ridiculous.
But I mean, hey, he's getting into his craft.
I'm about to say, like, to each their own. I'm not gonna dog on you. I probably have way too much.
It's like you listening to the artists that you listen to. Like most people wouldn't really think of listening to those artists, but you're like, it's my craft. I'm gonna listen to these.
Yeah,
And get ideas off
right.
them.
That makes sense. I never really think about movies in that way. Like watching a movie is kind of like forming your ideas of what a movie should look like and what it should like the pacing and
Yeah.
I never really think about that kind of shit when I'm watching movies. I don't know why.
That's kind of what's hard to grasp for me, because like I've seen movies, but then I've also slept since seeing those movies, so I forget a lot about them.
Right, my memory from movies is terrible.
But
Like I just sat in the chair for 2 hours and watched the screen. I couldn't tell you what happened.
like I bet you $10 Kyle could tell you what happens in Nosferatu every single second, and I'd be like, I don't even fucking know.
I mean, like he showed up through the doorway, and he was all like, "Rear." And I was like, oh, that's all I could tell you that happened in Nosferatu.
But yeah, like I think it's crazy how some people, like, imagine somebody with like is it photographic memory, something like that.
I think so.
Like people that can remember like every fucking detail of every fucking thing, being
know
a
what you're talking
director.
about.
That shit would be crazy.
That shit would be pretty crazy because, like, all right, you cut from this one scene and I'm like, all right, everybody back where you were. And then they go where they, think they were. And you're like, no, you were 2 inches to the right. And you're like, I was standing right here. And you're like, no, you were 2 inches to the right. I promise you.
But like even like when they watch old movies, like they remember like every single detail in the old movie, and then they're like, I could use that.
I'm about to say there's kind of people like that in music, like what's his name? Jacob Collier, something like that. He's from across the pond. I forget what the country he's from. But anyways, I don't think he has a photographic memory, but he has just such a deep understanding of like music theory and chord structures and shit like that. He could, you could play a chord and he'd be like, "Oh shit, that's the fucking B major 7 add 9." I'm like, "How the fuck did you know that? I didn't know that. I was just fucking playing some shit."
Especially like musicians that have perfect
Perfect pitch.
perfect pitch, yeah.
Yeah, like Charlie Puth, he has perfect pitch. And just like the shit you can do with being able to accurately identify music is fucking crazy. Like he's able to like loop his voice and use his voice as like uh as essentially like the keys or whatever. It's really interesting. He does a lot of really interesting stuff. I've seen on like YouTube shorts and stuff.
I just think it's all right. Now that we're going back on the topic, fucking directors need to move out of California into Texas. First of all, it'd be so much easier. Second of all, it would give more options to other people that live across this country.
I don't understand why there's not like multiple Hollywoods essentially. Like, you got your Los Angeles Hollywood, you got one in Austin,
Like
one in Chicago, and one in fucking North Carolina or something.
like music production studios.
Right. Like there's a plethora of studios you could go to. I could tell you about 6 of them in Indiana. But if you want to go to, I think, as I said, I think Hollywood is like a mindset. If you want to go to Hollywood, then you have to go to Los Angeles. You have to go to California. There's not much opportunity like in a big budget kind of movie.
I mean,
anywhere else. Like, there's obviously like indie movies and stuff where like you could try and find like a an up and coming studio or production company.
I mean, there's one studio that I know of in Indiana. It's called Bayonet Studio. They like help with like commercials, and sometimes they help with like big movies and shit, but
I'm not sure if this one's indie based.
Weird.
I'm not sure if this one's indie based, but there's one called Pegasus.
Oh yeah, Pegasus. That one is, I think, indie based.
I'm pretty sure Kyle's worked with them before.
Yeah.
But, like as I was saying, they're,
those are like not very, I don't want to say B movie tier, but they're not like big name production companies.
Right, that's what I was getting at. Like there's opportunity to do stuff, in each city, but like you're not going to be able to be on the big screen in, every theater in every city across the country. Like it's not physically possible unless you're in this one location with this certain group of people. It's kind of
like Warner Brothers. They're in California,
right? Like it's like a hierarchy. You got like the head of production, you got your director, you got, it's like a fucking pyramid scheme, damn near type shit.
Yeah,
pyramid scheme is kind of a harsh word to say. Sorry, but it's definitely a game of risk versus reward kind of.
It's a game of saving up money and moving out to California and then losing all your money and then coming back home. That's what the game is.
I mean, people have made it. It's possible.
Well, yeah, but it's a lot harder than it is in like Indiana.
Very true. Like the depth of talent that is out in Los Angeles, because it's the only place where Hollywood is.
And you know how many people have moved out to California and been like, I'm going to make it. I want to be an actor, or I want to be a director, or I want to be a set person. And then they literally lose every single dollar that they've saved up to move out there. And then they live on the streets in California.
That is an avenue to become homeless. Yeah. I mean, it's all about, as I said before, risk versus reward. Like calculating the benefits versus the risks. Like you gotta. It's one of those things that it's possible. Is it probable? Not necessarily, but it's not impossible. It's definitely possible to make it out in Los Angeles and Hollywood and all that shit. Like people have done it. Even if your name is like the 85th one on the credits, you still had a part to work on this movie.
Yeah.
It's you gotta start here to get there. To it's a ladder. It's not
Yeah.
it's not a motherfucking slingshot launch.
The only issue that I would have with moving out to LA is being in LA. Like, if I could live in a place like mom's house, like in a neighborhood that I can trust, I'd move out there in a heartbeat. But I feel like LA is too much like New York. It's too much of a concrete city or concrete jungle than a like residential neighborhood.
Right. Like I've heard this said a couple times on like Joe Rogan and other podcasts like that. Like the more people in a certain area, the less valuable a person becomes. Like in a small city, like in a small town, if somebody, their tire pops on the side of the road, like somebody is going to be more inclined to stop and at least try and help them to fix their tire,
Yeah.
as opposed to, you're in the middle of even in Indianapolis. Like if you pop your tire in Indianapolis, you're just sitting there waiting for AAA. Like nobody's going to stop and help you. Like
True.
it's a matter of like that many people just being crammed into this one population. Like the inevitability of crime and the inevitability of anything bad happening is exponentially higher than where we live right now, which is not even a quarter of the population of Los Angeles.
It's a lot of. I heard that like this saying. It's like people that live in big cities, when they see somebody on the side of the road, they'll be like, "Oh, the next person will help them," and they always say that to themselves, but nobody ever helps them.
Right. If everybody's saying the next person will help, then you never get help.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a big reason why a lot of the homeless problem is, or the homelessness is a problem. Excuse me. In major cities and stuff, because you walk down the street in Indianapolis, you see a homeless guy, and you're like, oh shit, somebody else will give him $1 to catch the bus or whatever, and everybody thinks that, and he's still sitting there 3 weeks later, But at that point, just fucking walk wherever he was going, big dog.
Yeah.
But that's neither here nor there.
But I also feel like a lot of people see homeless people as a I don't want to say threat, but
It's like a hindrance.
yeah, kind of, because I've heard a lot of people say that it's like they don't really trust homeless people because there's been so many cases of people who are rich acting like they're homeless so they can get money from people.
Yeah, that's some fucking scummy shit that people do. Like, I don't understand that kind of shit, but like when like I gotta sneeze. Give me just a second, y'all. Y'all can look at TT while I'm about to sneeze.
How you doing?
Oh fuck. All right. And we're back. I'll let y'all know if I got another one coming. We'll see if I can't get through it. What was he talking about?
The homeless people.
Oh yeah. Fuck the scummy ass people that be, begging for money on the street, and then 5 hours later they hop in a little fucking BMW and then go to their house and shit. That's some fucking scumbag shit. But like the homelessness problem at its core, like you just gotta look at people as people. Like you gotta be willing to like wipe the slate clean and start with the fact that like that's a fucking human being. Like regardless of the situation that they're in, it's
Yeah.
a fucking person. Like the Joe Rogan often says on his podcast, like he when he had a child, he was like, everybody was once this. Like nobody was born a fucking, well, you know, some people do be born addicted to drugs, but that's not of their own volition. Like nobody's born a fucking dope fiend. Like nobody's born a piece of shit. Like it's all about the situations that you're brought up in. Like a lot of times people, they have one hard week in their life and then that leads to, 10, 15, 20 more hard years. Like it's all about circumstance and like
I also don't like.
it's one of those fucking issues that's just so complex you can't really fucking pinpoint it to one cause. Like
I don't understand, or I don't really trust, like, I don't know what you call it. The groups that help the homeless and shit.
oh yeah, I could fucking talk all day on that. Like
I don't trust them because I feel like they're just like, oh, if you give us $1 million, we'll give it to the homeless, and I feel like they really don't do that.
here's the reason why I don't trust organizations like that. Like to a certain degree, you are helping people. Like they are giving people food and giving people, safe needles so they're not fucking spreading AIDS all over the city and shit. Like
Why give them needles?
right. I mean that's a whole other fucking talking point I don't want to get into right now, but like the whole homelessness fucking industry, whatever you want to call it, there's essentially no incentive for anybody to fix the homelessness problem because there's people getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to, quote unquote, fix the homelessness problem. And if they actually fixed it, what's their job? What is their, why would you keep paying somebody hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars to fix something that's already been fixed?
Just like the flu.
Like I feel like the point of that,
Just like any mental health disorder, if somebody fixes mental health, like comes up with this cure-all for every mental health issue, nobody's going to be making money that works in those drug companies because
right, like the pharmaceutical industry and like the homelessness, industry, I guess what you want to call it. Like it's very similar kind of vibes to me. Like yes, they're helping to a certain degree, but they're never gonna 100% fix the problem. Like I can't tell you. There's been so many times I've heard of like people get prescribed this one medicine when there's a significantly cheaper and more effective medicine on the market that they could have been prescribed. Like they're only prescribing this one certain medication because it's 4 times more expensive.
Yeah.
And the money goes back into the doctor's pockets eventually. Like it's a fucking money game. Like they're never gonna fix the problem at its source. They're never gonna 100%
I mean,
make it better. But
we could say that about everything though. So.
right? I mean,
Because
like,
it's America. Everybody just wants money. That's all they want.
essentially, in the end of the day,
If we strip down every fucking consumable item ever made to nothingness, people will just want money. Like
and it's all fake.
if we took every consumable item ever made, fucking put it in a forest fire, or not a forest fire, put it somewhere in the fucking middle of the ocean and lit it all on fire, it would come down to who has the most money to buy something.
And at the end of the day, money's not even fucking real.
Yeah.
Like it's all
It's just fake paper that we say is
right. It's
has
like
value.
it's all relevant because we say it has value. Like
We could change it to pebbles and it would be
right,
wouldn't change anything.
give you 17 pebbles for, that ham sandwich.
Yeah.
But All right, yo, I gotta go get a tissue real quick. I'm fucking under the weather. I'm gonna let y'all look at TT. Maybe he'll tell you something interesting. Give him a history fun fact while I'm away.
All right. Why are you making me go through my historic brain right now, Jaylen? Napoleon. Oh, Napoleon was a picky eater. The only thing he liked to eat was chicken. Yeah. He only liked to eat chicken, and he didn't care for alcohol. He didn't care for any like drugs or anything. He only liked eating chicken and taking over the world.
I mean, that's not a bad diet, honestly.
He got so mad one time at one of his servants because they were hungry. So I think it was one of not his servants, but I don't know. Maybe it was his servants. I don't remember. But he got mad at one because they were hungry, so they took like a wing and a leg off of his chicken. And he was like so mad about it that he was like, the next day after, like, he came home, went upstairs. All right, so starting from point one.
Right.
He came home, went upstairs, went to bed. One of his servants was talking to another servant, was like, I'm fucking starving. I need something to eat. Is it okay if I eat this chicken that's just sitting here? Because they got the chicken ready before he came home, but he didn't go to the dining room.
And the other servant said,
the other servant was like, no. And then he just kept asking. And he was like, yeah, sure, fine. And he ate a wing and a leg from the chicken. And then they heard a bell ring. And Napoleon yelled from his bedroom that he wanted dinner. So they brought the plate up, or they cut up the chicken to make it look like it wasn't eaten. And they took it up to him. And while he was eating, he was like, I don't think a chicken's only supposed to have one leg and one wing. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to have two legs and two wings. And then he bitched about it for the rest of the night. And the servant the next day was like, I ate that chicken leg and chicken wing. And when Napoleon's friends came over after that, he was complaining to them about how he had to eat the leftovers of one of his servants. And it was like, bro, you had the whole fucking chicken. He only ate a wing and a leg. Calm down.
That's fucking hilarious. That's fucking fried as shit. Napoleon only liked chicken.
Yeah.
Who would have fucking thunk?
He was a picky eater. He didn't like a lot of shit.
How you not gonna like a lot of shit and you trying to take over the world, bro? Isn't it fucking...
The same reason that we put a fucking grandfather in the office.
The world may never know.
It's like taking your half brain dead grandpa and throwing him in the office of the United States.
Poor Joey B. Bro, it'd be a fucking miracle if he wins again.
I don't think he's gonna win.
Yeah, me neither.
I don't think Trump is gonna win either. It's probably gonna be Robert Kennedy Jr.
I don't know. He's kind of... I don't know. I don't really fucking get into all the politics and shit. Like,
he's an old Democrat, so he has like the values of. Okay. Somebody told me that he was an old Democrat, the old type of Democrat, but he seems to have the values of the Republican Party and the Democratic Party put into one person.
I mean,
so I don't know.
I don't feel like he'll be able to get the nomination from either of the main two parties. So, like, if he does run, he'll have to run on a third party, and, like, a third party has never even won. So, like...
This could be the first one.
I don't know. One can hope. I feel like Robert Kennedy is, like, the most, like, presidential-seeming candidate that we have. As I said, I don't fucking pay attention to the debates and shit, like, who all's in the running for shit, but...
I don't know if I've said this on the podcast, but people who, in my opinion, people who vote for the Democratic Party are arrogant and completely like they're just not very smart. Like, you can look this shit up online and it will tell you what the Democratic Party has done. Like, the Democratic Party has literally made the KKK. They were the ones that wanted slavery to keep going. And they didn't want black people to be able to do anything in this country, while the Republican Party was fighting against them for black people to have human rights and be able to vote and shit. And the only reason that it changed was because FDR, was he made promises during his campaign for different things to change in the country, and the black people during that era found it important for them, so they started voting for the Democratic Party, which is like the Democratic Party just wanted your votes so they could go into office.
Very true.
They don't really care about black people as anything.
I'm about to say, I understand what you're saying. I feel like politics as a whole is, it's a fucking popularity contest. Like, it's all fucked. Everybody's corrupt. Like,
I mean,
like, it's in the same hand as like the pharmacy industry. Like, the government's never gonna 100% provide for anybody. Like, it's there to enforce the rules. And
the issue is that people are so hell bent on throwing Trump out of office that they voted Biden in.
Yeah.
But look at what Trump did while he was in office and what Biden's did while he's in office. Biden has raised the prices of every fucking thing under the sun. Ain't nobody can afford shit. We're getting paid shitty ass money that isn't even able to buy anything. While Trump was literally like, oh, gas is going to be $1 whatever.
That shit was nice. I ain't even gonna lie.
And he was dropping prices of a lot of shit. And then after the election of Biden, he shut down the pipeline, and it fucking crashed our economy, and now everybody's trying to fight to not live on the streets.
I'm about to say, I understand exactly what you're saying, like 100%. Here's how I think about it. Like, the Republican Party is over here. The Democratic Party is over here. Most of America is right here.
Is in the middle. Yeah.
Most of America is right here. You got, 15% on either side that, exponentially goes out further and further. You start getting your fucking, whatchamacallit, you're like,
alt-right.
Yeah, like your
Nazis.
extremist groups, the fucking woke liberals and the far right and all that shit.
And then on the left side, you get the BLM movement, which was a good idea. The meaning is great behind the BLM movement, but the people who are running it are fucking dickheads.
Yeah, like, I've
like,
said
how you gonna spend like $250,000 on fucking hookers?
On hookers?
Yeah, they literally came out with their tax breakdown, and it was like BLM spent $500,000 on hookers, and then bought like $3 million houses.
What the fuck?
Didn't help the black community at all.
I'm about to say, I heard this shit was corrupt. Like, I honestly tried and listened to as little news as possible, unless it's like a major world event. Because
and then and then the news just wants to fucking go either all the way to the right or all the way to the left.
Yeah, but
they're like, their alt-right community is killing all these people, and then they go, and it's like,
right,
they're killing people, but then you got all the people in the middle that are like, it's like, can we just fucking be civil and have common sense? It's not that hard.
Right. I feel like media nowadays is used as propaganda, essentially. Like, each network has their own agenda that they're kind of trying to push, like Fox News is always going to have a right-leaning agenda. CNN is always going to have a left-leaning agenda,
Like,
and they just kind of try and use these like trigger words to, make somebody that was like maybe leaning right, or say like CNN is like racist Republican, da 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 da. Just using all these like trigger words. Somebody that was potentially leaning a little bit right is now,
a complete racist.
like they look at somebody that they're like, I think abortion should be legal and we should have guns. They put them in the same boat as somebody in the alt right. There's no room for nuance in the discussion of politics, in my opinion. And that's what really fucking annoys me about it.
You know what I think? I think somebody should create a time machine and bring fucking George Washington to the United States today and see what he thinks. He'd probably be like, we're fucked.
It's like, look what you did, George. You see this shit? You see this shit, bud? I hope you're fucking happy, all right? And just send him back. And he's like, what the fuck just happened?
He'd probably be like, no, like keep him here for a good month so he understands what's going on. But after that, he'd be like, yeah, y'all are fucked.
He'd be like, yeah, I'm going to go back and just kill everybody. We'll start over new. Just let the Native Americans have the land. Let's see what happens. Could you imagine? All right, go back in time. You're like, the Spaniards never find America, right?
Yeah.
What do you think happens to America?
Becomes a Indian country, Native American country, and literally Native Americans run the country, and they just have different sections like they used to back in the day, like different Native American groups. Like they had the Ahuahi or whatever the fuck the name was.
Right. Do you think there's still like a like an industrial revolution in America?
I feel like at some point, yes, but not when it happened as it happened.
I'm about to say, I feel like it definitely wouldn't be to the extent that it happened, but there would definitely be some sort of, some sort of evolution along the years.
Well, because like, even when England wasn't in America, France was in Canada and Spain was in Mexico. Like, they were still on the continent. They were just not in America, and they would sell their weapons and what they had to the Indians, which would give them shit in return.
Right.
And so, therefore, I feel like the Indians would be like, this gun looks like a fucking 1911. Fuck it. Let's start making our own guns.
Like, could you imagine if, like, America either became, like, a French colony or a Spanish colony, like the difference that it would have made. And
no, imagine if like the American-Mexican War that happened in like 1812, if the Mexicans won, take over America,
bro. Like, if you think about it, like in history,
there's so many things that could have like been tweaked just a little that could change the outcome.
Like, all it takes is one little thing not happening. Like, I always go back and think, like, what would happen if JFK never got assassinated?
What would happen if our crazy ass first president didn't decide to go across the Delaware River on Christmas?
The world may never know. All right, we're 50 minutes into this podcast, and me and talk to Lick about a music or a movie. All right, what you want to talk about first?
I've been too busy talking about real life. We'll talk about music first.
All right, the album of the week is Let It Be, the Super Deluxe Edition. I don't know how to frame my...
What would happen if John Lennon was never killed?
Yoko Ono would have slowly fucking railed his career into the ground.
What if George never left or died?
It was inevitable. It was always going to happen.
Was Yoko really that bad to Lennon?
Bro. Yoko Ono, I don't know what the fuck Yoko Ono's problem is, what the fuck she had against John Lennon, but like every fucking performance she would like insist to be on the stage. And like, you ever heard Yoko Ono sing?
No.
Okay, so I'll do an impression for you real quick. Mind your ear holes if you got headphones in. Okay. All right. So, um, I'm gonna do Yoko Ono on the song "Let It Be." All right. So and when I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary. Just I'm not joking one single bit. Not even in the slightest, bro. Look at like when you get a second, look up fucking Yoko Ono singing, bro. Like
Why was John with her?
I couldn't tell you like the whole fucking story of how they met and everything, but they found each other and they were like fucking inseparable. And I don't know what the fuck she was doing. She was like, I don't know if you ever had this experience, but like,
When a girl and a guy love each other very much.
yeah, when a mom and a dad live. No, I'm playing. But like, say, like me and you are filming the podcast right now. Nobody else is in the house. We can be like, I'm gonna mute myself while I say some fuck shit real quick. We could be like, but like if Sam was here right now, I probably wouldn't have said that. But like there's a different vibe when somebody that's not in the project is in the room. Like you can't quite get the Beatles with like it's like trying to fold your hands, but you got a cup in your
pinky,
right. You got a cup in your hands, but you trying to like, all right. So this is the Beatles. This is the Beatles with Yoko Ono. Like they can still kind of touch and get together, but you ain't getting that full, that kumbaya. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know what the fuck she was on, but anyways,
did she not like anybody else other than Lennon in the band?
I don't know what as I said, I don't know what the bitch's problem was, but clip it.
Clip it.
But anyways, onward and upward. So the reason I chose the Let It Be Super Deluxe Edition is because it's not only the album Let It Be on its own, but it's also it's like a collection of all of the takes and
behind the scenes.
Yeah, like all the behind the scenes, like the rehearsals and them warming up using songs that aren't on the album that they've already made.
You know what's fucking crazy?
What's crazy?
Ringo Starr was right-handed but played the drums left-handed.
Was he right-handed? I thought he was left-handed.
No, he was right-handed. He just
Wait,
played
the drums
left-handed.
Interesting. Very interesting. It's like me. I'm gonna say not like me, but I'm right-handed, but I kick the ball with my left foot.
Yeah,
it's kind of weird. You think right-handed, right foot, but no.
Did you also know that
and I also shoot my basketball with my left hand.
Did you also know that Ringo Starr wasn't the original drummer?
I did. There were I'm gonna say it in the Get Back documentary that they made on Disney. They kind of went into a little bit of that, like how Ringo got into the band.
Also, Paul McCartney's definitely the best in the band.
I don't know. That's a
hot take.
I don't know. It's a conversation to be had. Like Paul McCartney definitely was. I feel like he was. Like if
he was the heart and soul of the band.
I'm gonna say if the Beatles are the Ninja Turtles, Paul McCartney was definitely Leonardo. And
who was Mikey?
Ringo, for sure. Ringo, for sure.
Who's Donatello?
It's got to be John or George.
And then
Raphael's John Lennon. It fits. But like Paul McCartney is definitely like he's like the driving force behind the band. But I could honestly make an argument for either Lennon or George being like the. All right, so George was definitely the best musician in the band. Like George Harrison, he played the lead guitar.
Oh.
He's this guy right here.
I thought we were still talking about Paul.
No, I was saying like Paul's definitely like the driving force behind the band, but I wouldn't say that he's the best Beatle. I in my opinion, I'd honestly have to say either John or George. Ringo, he's fine and all, but there's only so much a drummer can do. Drummers, take that to heart and prove me wrong.
But didn't Paul just like Kyle prove him wrong? Didn't Paul like write most of the music though? Like almost all.
I'm gonna say it was a mixture between Paul and George that wrote most of the music, or Paul and John, sorry, that wrote most of the music. But I'm gonna say Paul McCartney definitely had a more extensive career outside of the Beatles, but he also didn't get shot in the head. So,
neither did Ringo.
I mean, Ringo's still on that bitch.
Is he still alive or did he die?
No, Ringo's still alive. Ringo and
Paul
McCartney are still alive.
Why didn't George like overdose or some shit like that?
I don't remember. I'll give it a Google real quick.
Also,
how did George Harrison die? Lung cancer. Sadness.
What era was their best? The bowl cut era? The hippie
like
era?
The Welcome to the Americas era. I really, really love Sgt. Pepper's Beatles. I really love the Let It Be Beatles, like exclusively the rooftop performance. That's one other thing I wanted to bring up. Like the Super Deluxe Edition has the rooftop performance in there. And bro, there's just something fucking magical about that performance. I could watch it, every fucking day if I wanted to, honestly.
I really like the bowl cut Beatles.
Like when they first came to America.
Yeah.
Oh, tell me something.
Yeah.
I wanna hold your hand. I wanna hold your hand. All right, I'm gonna stop singing in y'all ears. But I'm gonna say there's definitely a few classics from when they first came to America. Revolver. What was the other one?
Hard Day's Night.
Yeah, like all the early shit is nice, but I like the Beatles when they were like
on drugs.
There's that. There is that. I do enjoy a nice
drugged band,
drug and influence song, but I feel like Let It Be is like the ultimate culmination of all of their talents coming together. Like there really isn't a song on the album that misses, like in the original Let It Be album. There's obviously a few questionable tracks in the Super Deluxe Edition because it's all like their raw tapes from recording and practicing and all that whatnot. But quote of the week before I forget. The more I see, the less I know for sure. It's from John Lennon.
Well, he can't see anymore.
I wish I could have ended the podcast on that note. All right. Tell me about the film of the week. Holy fuck.
It's the B movie.
So what'd you choose the B movie for?
The White Man. If you don't know that part, watch the movie.
If you ain't seen the B movie, what are you doing with your life?
Oh,
it's such a classic. Like Jerry Seinfeld, and
also I didn't really know what to choose because we chose to do this the day before, so I was just like, I've seen the B movie.
I'll give you this one. Need to start choosing actual movies. So we've been talking about animated movies for like the past 5 weeks.
Also, when do you remember the part when bro takes the sword out of the hamburger and starts fighting them?
Yeah, when he used the little toothpick sword. Yeah. There's so many fucking good moments in that in the movie. Like when he's rolling up the newspaper and he's like, "No, 112 pages." He said, "Oh yeah, buddy, come here." That movie kind of has like a really profound meaning when you think about it. Like it's some real kind of Horton Has a Who type shit. Like
Horton Hears a Who.
What did I say?
Horton Has a Who.
He's hearing him, he's got him, whatever you want, whatever movie. I watched the bootleg version, all right?
It's not even an elephant.
It's just some nigga named Horton. He's got an owl. He's just, whoo, and that's the whole movie. That's the whole movie. Credits start rolling, and just Horton as Horton, an owl. That's it. That's just
Horton here.
It's 10 seconds.
Horton hears a who, and it's it's just that. That would be crazy.
Whoo. Oh,
have you seen that the video? It's like the shark things that like talk.
All right, guys. One of us has been turned into an owl.
Who?
Oh, that was one of my favorite fucking memes for the longest time. That shit's so fucking funny. All right. Any other reason you chose the B movie? Anything you especially like about the B movie in specific before we hop into TT's talks?
Not really.
Fair enough. Onward and upward, brother. I'm pressing the wrong button. Oh, I'm tiny. Why am I tiny? I'm gonna run it back.
It's me and you in a different life.
These fucking videos. Those videos always fucking crack me up, bro. I seen one that was like, guess who's a ballerina and guess who's autistic? And this chick was like doing back bends and shit, and then her little brother was just standing there just didn't know what the fuck to do. Oh Lord. I forgot I gotta do these in real time. I always forget that I gotta fucking do this in real time. All right. Second talk on the
tell anyone, not even your closest friends and family.
Sir, I won't tell a soul. Sam, I gotta tell you a secret, Sam.
DZ sent that to me because my fiance's name is Sam.
You mustn't tell anyone, not even your closest friends and family.
Sir, I won't tell a soul. Sam, I gotta tell you a secret, Sam.
What was that, T?
I said, but I also be telling you everything, so.
Anybody tells TT a secret, you just better assume I'm gonna find out eventually.
Car, shut your mouth. You buying a new house? Shut your mouth. Get married? Shut your mouth. 99% of the time, the reason that your dreams not coming true when they supposed to is because we open our mouths too soon to the wrong people.
Here we go again. Another day, nobody's out here. Nobody's out here. Nobody's in front of me because nobody wants it like me. When you apply yourself to the 1% rule, if you do what 99% of people do, you will fall into the 99%. But if you can make that 1%, it can change your whole fucking life. Stop fucking around.
Stop fucking
Get your
around.
shit together. Clock's ticking, motherfucker.
TikTok,
Where
nigga.
you are right now may not be where you want to be, but remember and never forget, it's not where you're destined to be.
Everything's gonna be okay. Everything you're worried about is gonna be okay.
Bruh.
Got that tism.
I'm about to say something about Theo Von's like solo podcast. He always gets in his feelings at the end. I've been like, he'd be saying some real shit sometimes. Catch a nigga fucking leaking out the eyeball at work sometimes. But all right, this is the last talk we got into. It's a still frame. If you can't read, I'll read it for you.
You
All right,
can't tell me that ain't.
Well, somebody
lightning.
touches me and I wasn't prepared for physical contact.
That's lightning right there.
That's lightning as fuck. You catch him off guard, bro. You might take your damn hand off. Man's be a fucking savage. All right. Thank y'all for watching the Two Tone Podcast. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. We appreciate it so much. Give me a little serotonin boost during my day. Hit one more subscriber. Share it with your friends. Share it with your family. Linktree.com/JAK Productions for all my music, social medias, and the Feeling Generous tab leads to us being able to get new microphones and all that wonderful shit. You got anything to say to the people before we cut the fuck out of here?
Life ain't about the destination, it's about the journey.
And this has been the Two Tone Podcast. Hit subscribe, please. Please, just hit the button, okay? Just for the sanity of my life, just hit the button.